AITA for not wanting to pick up my wife from the airport at 12:30 a.m. Backstory: my wife is coming back from a 4-day business trip. Her flight is just under 3 hours, and she will be landing around 12:30 a.m. Airport is about 30 minutes away from our home. She generally hates flying in this late, and asked if I could come pick her up from the airport. To clarify, the airport is O'Hare. It's a huge, busy airport. There are hundreds of business travelers coming through even at 1 a.m., and a huge fleet of taxis Uber standing by to take them home. If this was a little airport and she was waiting by herself for a taxi for 20 minutes, you would not be reading this post. As much as people are sensitive to it, safety is realistically not a huge issue here. And BSP, I have to get up early and commute to work the next morning, and wouldn't be getting home until 1:30 a.m. I get why she wants me to come, and I know it would be the good thing to do, but I also feel like she'd be completely fine just taking a taxi this one time. Am I just being lazy, or am I being the lazy asshole here? Reddit, and BSP, edits I. Goddamn it, I kind of knew in the back of my head that I should just go, but thank you for confirming. ILL, suck it up and go get her. Thanks Reddit, and BSP, edit 2. I went. She had a shitty flight and was surprised, overwhelmed to see me, and cried happy tears. It was a cute moment. Your comments and shaming made it all possible. Okay, off to bed. Always think about it like this and you're covered. If I were dating someone that I was really trying to impress and win over because I really care about them and think they are someone I may want to spend the rest of my life with, would I do whatever it is they are asking me to do? Then there is your answer. Marriage makes us take our spouses for granted sometimes. Treating each other how we did when we were trying to win them over is the way to keep them in our lives and make them feel appreciated. This is a great response and 100% true. I would just like to commend you on your maturity, accepting your verdict and adding a nice edit. Try to get some sleep and be safe. Side note: while I am capable of taking an Uber, I'd be terrified and would totally beg my husband if I had one laughing to come pick me up. The only sad thing about the edit is the reaction of the wife. Imagine crying from happiness. PC, your husband did a totally normal and caring thing that you would expect from a partner. I mean, it is cute, but it is weird. Why would it be sad? There are lots of reasons someone might cry happy tears. Some people tear up easily. You tend to respond more emotional at night. The business trip might have been exhausting or demanding, and this might have been a welcome surprise. It is not something out of the ordinary for him to pick her up from the airport. As he says in the post, I am confused about why it is sad. Excuse me, you don't automatically assume people are emotionally manipulative psychopaths. Do you even really use Reddit? Nah, it's reasonable on both sides. You have an early commitment and value your sleep. She sees it as you her husband and has an expectation that you would pick her up instead of a stranger. Agreed on this one. I don't think it's about the convenience or safety of taking an Uber at that hour, but the time and sacrifice that partners do for each other in general. Probably not always expected, but is always nice. My fiancé always has to be up early for his work, so I understand if he couldn't always pick me up, but he still wouldn't allow me to take a cab if it's already late. So I also make sure that I will always be there to pick him up when he comes home late from the airport whenever I can. Because she asked you, her husband, for a favor, for a reason. She knows she can take Uber. She probably does not want to do that at that time. I do not get why everyone thinks you're the asshole. This is clearly a nah situation. Husband wants to get enough sleep before work. Wife wants him to pick her up. This is not deep enough for him to be an asshole. I am glad you went to pick up your wife. I think it was the right thing to do, but do not think not doing it would have made you an asshole. This is so odd to me that people refuse to go out of their way for their partners. If my boyfriend asked me to pick him up, I would have no problem because I love him and I love to see him, and I can handle a little bit of sleep deprivation later on in the day. It honestly baffles me. Stop being so ducking selfish. If it was a friend requesting this is a big favor, but it's your wife, you shouldn't even be having a thought of not picking her up. If you're struggling and considering this a big request, God forbid something challenge your marriage like a sickness or anything of that nature, man up and follow through on your vows. You remember taking them, right? Dear Reddit, my wife lost her job and she's looking for work but it's eating into our savings. Am I an asshole for wanting a divorce? It's been 2 weeks. Was that a real post? We have kids now, but before my husband and I would often offer to pick each other up at the airport and we didn't even have a car at times. So it was just a matter of showing up and then taking a cab together. It's silly but we were excited the other was coming home. There were also times we didn't ask or expect. It's life and sometimes it was too late early or we were just too busy. If you can do it and not jeopardize your job or safety yours or others, it's a little thing. You won't remember the missed sleep in 6 months but she will remember pretty much forever that you were there for her. Small effort, big reward. It's just a cab home. It's faster, more convenient, and easy for all involved. As someone whose spouse travels frequently for work, our general policy is I will get him anytime, unless I am working or it's the middle of the night before I work the next morning. She's not wrong to ask, but you're within your rights to say number. I wonder if other commenters assume this is a one-time thing. I am assuming since you said she travels for business, you need to pick her up on a semi-regular basis as is the case for me. In that case, it's not sustainable to always pick her up like that. Edit the person below misread my comment, so I clarified the grammar. NTA, I travel for business a lot and would never think of having my spouse pick me up at the airport. I either take a car and park it there or take an Uber. It is just work, and Uber would be just as fast as you picking her up, so why impose on your spouse? Wow, thank you generous people for the gold and silver. I am humbled and grateful. Agreed. NTA, been in the same situation several times, including the supposed 11 p.m. train that actually arrived at 3 a.m. due to delays. We both agreed at that time that it would be better for her to get a cab paid by her job than for me to get out at 2 a.m. and home at 4. We pick each other up when that works, but sometimes getting the airport train, bus or a cab makes more sense. At least here Central Europe, France, Switzerland and Norway safety is a non-issue. Maybe that is not true in the US. It is more about costs and that it is usually a nice thing to do. NTA, as a female who travels for work I don't inconvenience people with my own travel needs. Work pays for the transportation so I make whatever arrangements are necessary, for example Uber, Lyft, car service, etc. It'd be a nice gesture if you picked her up, but I totally get why it'd be difficult. Go get your wife. It is a business trip, so the company is responsible for paying for her transportation home from the airport. But at that late hour it is reasonable that she would not want to Uber. Any reasonable business should pay for a town car service to pick her up and bring her home at that time of night. Has she asked them about that, though? Honestly, I would not even ask. I did book the town car and put it on my expense report. I second this. I travel for work. The company books a car service from airport to office. Some people tell me to get an Uber BC. It is cheaper for the company. I don't feel safe in the Uber, so I get the car service. You can't really argue with safety. My husband used to work until 1:30 in the morning, and sometimes it'd need to be to work at 4 a.m. that same day, but I still would pick him up because I love him and I am not a selfish person. Go get your wife. It is one night. Take a damn nap. It is one day. If you cannot make that kind of sacrifice for your wife, why are you even in a relationship with her? It is not unreasonable she wants you to. It is not unreasonable you do not want to, especially if there is another reasonable option. Doing it anyway is still a good choice, my dude. I read it down to the last edit and I am so glad you picked her up and really made her night. People in this thread irritate the shit out of me. You don't always get your way. Your life is not always a perfect comfortable bubble. It is so clear it is made up of 18-year-olds that are still too egotistical to see how the real world works. We make sacrifices to make our partners happy often. I literally just picked my fiancé up at 2 a.m. from the airport for a job interview when I had to be up at 5:30 the next day. Did it suck? Yes, I was tired as heck and work in the medical field, but I liked giving him the chance for immediate relief from a shitty flight, brought him a soda, and cuddled in bed. It is just intimate and nice to see your partner's face immediately after a long stressful day for some respite. Oh yeah, you are not an asshole. But for your original question, I am really glad you got to see how important it was for her and how much she loves you. Thanks for watching. Consider subscribing for more videos.